Hi, I'm Robert,
And I'm Evelyn.
and this is Token About It.
And before we get started, I just wanted to say sorry about the last episode. It was only brought to my attention today that apparently the last 10 minutes got cut off. And I don't know what happened to them.
Huh.
So, yeah, sorry about that, everyone. I'm not sure how to fix that. I'm not good at this.
Just repost it as post number so-and-so dash 2.0.
If I can find it.
You don't save them?
No, I did save it. For some reason, it just stopped recording.
Oh, you don't even have it saved.
Yeah, I don't even have the end of it. It's like it stopped recording at some point.
Huh,
So
that's weird.
It's really weird. So I'm sorry, everyone.
That seemed like a lifetime ago, too. I don't know.
So because of that, I did not write down my predictions. So I had to make brand new ones, which I will explain.
Oh, good Lord.
So, do you have something to say before we started this
No,
off?
I was just going to ask you what your predictions were, so...
All right. So my new prediction, so it's the Ride of the Rohirrim.
Today, yes.
Today.
Yes.
So what my new predictions are, which are terribly, terribly wrong. I predicted that by the end of the chapter, the Rohirrim would reach the wall of Gondor.
Okay.
Yep. And then I predicted that Mary was going to end up in a trench. And then I wrote down fireballs, but what I mean by that is fireballs are going to be shot at them. Yeah. Because
there's no fireballs at all.
There's a fire mention, but that's like it.
There's a fire mention.
I know, and I'm not even gonna argue for that. It's so not it's a mentioned one. Like they don't even see it. It's just reported. So basically, the way that I interpreted the way that this was gonna go was this was gonna be the Rohirrim trying to get through all the orcs to get to the Wall of Gondor, like they were already here. I didn't realize this was another one of those okay, we're going back in time a little bit to see how they got there. And that really tripped me up, so all of my predictions are wrong. That being said, this was a pretty short chapter.
This is a short chapter. I forgot how short it was. So there's so I have a question for you first.
Okay.
So I want to know how you pronounce that word.
I don't even know what letter is that? I can't read your handwriting.
Bieveuacked. Bive.
So that's an E.
No, that's an O. I'm sorry. So Bivo.
Okay.
Uacked.
Bivouacked.
That's close.
Bivouacked. Okay.
It's bivouac.
Bivouac?
Bivouac.
And what does it mean?
Bivouac. It's kind of a military term, really.
Okay.
But it means a camp without cover. It's kind of like a quick setup camp.
Okay.
Right. So
I totally must have missed that word because I do not recall reading that word.
It's like on the first page.
Okay.
Maybe the second paragraph.
Okay. I was more focused on Mary.
So
I'm really starting to identify with Mary. I think Mary is my soul animal. Or spirit animal.
So
yeah, it starts with them riding for 4 days straight.
Yep.
Trying to make it to Gondor. And Mary is talking about how tired he is, but he's still very much focused on the mission. And so he's still trying to keep his spirits up, even though things look very grim.
Right, yeah, and I kind of love the way the chapter even starts. He could smell the horses.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably because after riding on one for 4 days, he probably smells like a horse.
Probably, honestly.
And I also like the idea that those in the troop ignored him, ignored that he was there.
Mm-hmm. I did have a question about that. Because the way that I read it at first was, oh, they're just ignoring him because he's small. But then I thought maybe they're ignoring him because they know he's not supposed to be there, so they're not trying to bring attention to him.
Right.
Okay.
Because even later on, when one of the guys trips over him, later on, he's at the end of that conversation, he goes, "Well, Mr. Baggage, go, pack yourself," or something like that. Something like that.
Which when we get there, I have a comment about that, but we'll get there. Because literally the next thing in my notes is the elves seem kind of snobby.
Who?
The elves.
There are no elves. There are no elves in this chapter.
Then who's the
There's a man named Elfhelm.
Oh.
Wow, girl.
I thought.
Wow.
Wait, then who's like his troop people? Are they the Swan guys, or that was in Gondor? I must be really remembering wrong.
Yeah.
I honestly was thinking they were elves, or are they just like another party that has?
No, this is one of the troops of the Rohirrim.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought the elves had caught up with them and were traveling with them.
No, Elfhelm is his name. He's a man. He's a Rohirrim.
Okay.
Wow, girl. Do we have to stop and you read it again?
Maybe? No, because the last time we saw the Rohan, I thought that they had met up with some elves. With Elrond's sons.
Because Elfhelm is the name.
I'm not just talking about Elfhelm. I honestly tell me if I'm wrong, but
You're wrong.
But I honestly thought that at the last time we saw the Rohan, that that Elrond's sons and some elves had come with them, and that they were riding with the Rohan to Gondor.
No. You need to go back 5 chapters and reread.
Because I thought they were talking. Because weren't they talking about like Aragorn leaving, and that they missed him? That they just missed him?
No.
Then who came and they were like they just missed him? Oh, that was the Theoden. Okay, I'm so wrong. We're gonna keep this in. But like, wow, I was really misinterpreting this chapter.
That's because you take crappy notes on your phone.
That's okay. I don't know why that's what I remember, but apparently I remember that.
So, Mary could smell the horses.
And well, some people are being snooty.
No, nobody's being snooty.
I read it as some people being kind of snobby, like turning their noses up at him.
They're pretending he's not there.
Oh, okay.
Because he's not supposed to be.
Okay. All right.
So you sped read through this, didn't you?
No. I just totally read it through a different context, apparently. I should probably reread it with this new context.
Yeah, so you can be ready to understand the next chapter.
Okay, great.
So they're less than a day's ride from Minas Tirith.
Right.
Okay. Mary wants to talk to somebody, so he starts thinking about Pippin.
Yeah.
Because nobody will talk to him because they're pretending he's not there.
Right, and it's like, oh, he misses his bro. Misses his bestie.
But the best part of this chapter is about the wild men.
Yes.
Now, I got some stuff.
Okay, let's go down this rabbit hole because I was very interested in the wild men. We meet the wild men, and I was just like, okay, I'm interested in these people. They seem rad.
Right, so the wild men of the woods, they're known as Wose. That's spelled W-O-S-E.
Okay.
After the War of the Ring, King Elzar gave the forest to them, quote, forever. They are they deeply dislike the orcs, and apparently the orcs deeply
Dislike
dislike them.
Yes.
We get hints that they've kind of helped keep the area clear
Of orcs.
Of orcs.
Yeah, we definitely get that
for
vibe.
ages,
for
ages, since the last war.
Oh, so not just now, but like,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
That's a grudge match. All right. So
in,
so that'll make when they finally get to Gondor, that'll make that interesting.
so what's also kind of cool is that the way Tolkien describes these guys, they're in heraldry. They're called they're called woodhouse. A woodhouse is described as a wild, hairy man clad in leaves. So, and so they are a supporter in heraldry. Like when you look at somebody from England or the United Kingdom, when you look at their full arms, there's two supporters holding it up.
Okay.
One on each side.
Okay.
Okay. So the wild man is one of those type of supporters.
Oh, okay.
Right? So that's
okay.
And so he didn't just come up with the idea. Uh, uh, and a wild man clad in leaves. Tolkien also translates this as the men that live in the woods in his translation of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Okay.
That's also how he describes them.
Okay.
And so, so we hear that that's who is making the drumming noise.
Okay.
Right? And then this is when, the one guy tells Mary, pack up yourself, Master Bag.
Mm-hmm.
Just acknowledging him that, all right, I'm done talking with you. I'm going to start pretending your baggage again. So
yeah.
And but the wild men, basically what we would saw, they don't ever give him a real title, but we can tell he's like the leader.
Yeah.
He's the leader. It even hints at that he's probably one of the few that even speaks common.
Yeah.
Common. And so he's there, and he tells him that the stone city is shut, meaning that there's nothing going in or out of it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this wild man's name.
Oh, wasn't it like Gon?
It's a hell. It has 3 hyphens in it, and all of them start with a g sound. Oh, I just had a thought, but I'm not going to share it.
Okay. Interesting.
So, and they also tell him, because there is practically total darkness.
Yes.
But they say, well, we know when the sun comes up, we can feel it.
Yes.
So I thought that was pretty cool too. Now, another thing that's interesting is, so when Tolkien was a child, he really enjoyed stories and books and other tales about, quote, North American Indians, meaning Native Americans.
Okay.
So he really liked that idea of these nomadic, honorable, quote unquote, wild men.
Right? Okay.
Men who are so close to the land they lived in, they knew everything that was going on about it.
Okay.
And so that's like these wild men. They can track a fly through the woods, type of thing.
Okay.
They're so connected with their surrounding and the area they live in, which I found interesting, the way that they talked about that.
Okay.
and we also have says that we must look for the failed dead. There's, that's said there a couple of different times by a couple of different people. But the one sentence says, then we must look for the failed dead. There's actually a recording out there from Tolkien recording this sentence, then we must look for the failed dead, and then continuing on into the end of this chapter. I try to find it so we could put a link to it, but the only place I could find it, it's only on CD disc right now.
Oh.
So I couldn't find an actual recording to download or anything. And then they find a rider, or two riders, and their horse is dead. One of the riders had the red arrow. Now, if you remember, the red arrow was sent because it's a symbol. It's Gondor summoning its allies in a time of need.
Right.
So it obviously never got to where it needed to get.
Yeah.
I was interested in why a red arrow.
Okay.
Because knowing Tolkien,
it's some sort of symbolism.
Yeah, he must have got something from somewhere. So there are.
I mean, red is associated with war.
Right, but so there are some scholars who wonder if the original red arrow was an orc arrow covered in blood, just to prove to the allies that, hey, they're here and we're fighting them. Where the hell are you?
Gotcha.
There's nothing really in there to support that. I kind of like that idea, though.
It is an interesting idea.
But it's actually a device used in the history of the Danes, which was written in the 12th century. So it goes back that far. And because of that, going back that far, there is a book, or some prose written by a William Morris, who lived from 1834 to 1896. And one of his works is called The House of the Wolflings.
Okay.
And we know, because Tolkien was such a meticulous person, he kept a list of when he acquired a book.
Huh.
So
Nerd.
Yeah, really. I don't even do that. And so we know from these records that he had a copy of this book.
Okay.
Before he started writing this.
Okay.
And so that may be where the red arrow comes from as well.
Oh, all right.
It's the other thing that comes out of that book is the use of the word Mirkwood.
Ooh, okay.
But Tolkien had already written notes using that word before he got hold of
the book.
And so, and also through Christopher Tolkien's published research, it even shows how his dad came up with the word Mirkwood using J.R.R. Tolkien's notes on how to create words.
Okay.
Because he had, that's how big of a nerd he was.
He had his own.
He had charts to how to describe things using the languages that he invented.
Amazing.
So, which I think that's all pretty cool, actually.
So he's basically an interdimensional time traveler.
He is a Time Lord.
He is a Time Lord.
I think both he and C.S.S. Lewis are Time Lords.
They're both Time Lords. That's why they're BFFs. And that's why they write all these, came up with all of these, crazy worlds
and
that have such detail.
Right, and their TARDIS is the wardrobe.
No, it's C.S. Lewis's TARDIS.
No, I think they both came at the same time from the same place.
No, I think they just happened to find each other. That's what I think.
Okay.
I think they both happened to find each other. But what would Gerald Tolkien's TARDIS be?
Exactly. That's why I think it has to be the same thing.
Maybe his broke down and he had to catch a ride.
His is the one that Doctor Who stole.
We've solved it! This is the end of the podcast. We have solved the mystery. Thank you for listening. This is the last episode because it's been solved.
Talk about a rabbit hole.
Oh my goodness.
I hope y'all are still listening.
I hope so too.
After Evelyn's failure of understanding the whole chapter. I'm sorry. Also, Tolkien also got the depiction of the Death Marshes from William Morris's work as well.
Okay.
You like how I just suddenly flipped back to what we were supposed to be talking to?
Yes, I do. Very authentic.
Yeah. Boom, boom. So Denethor does not know that the Rohirrim is coming because the arrow never got to anywhere. The arrow did not get to, arrow did not deliver the message.
Do we have a hint about where they were trying to go?
If I remember right, it was the Rohirrim sending it to Denethor.
Oh, so they were both sending each other red arrows.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Or maybe they were returning the red arrow being like, we're on our way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that would make sense.
Yeah. And then, of course, Denethor, being Denethor, he doesn't just say, all right, folks, let's go. He even comes up with a quick 4-line prose.
He does.
He does. That's
our song chant thing of the chapter.
Yeah, the first one in a long, long time, but it's not long enough to really count.
Yeah, it's not really a song.
It kind of counts, but
it's more of a chant.
And at first when I read it, I'm like, oh, come on. How is he going to come up with that right before they charge? Well, one, he's had weeks to think about it.
Yeah.
Two, Tolkien always has the elves and the hobbits and all coming up with songs on the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not unusual for Tolkien to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Plus, we know that Denethor is also I wouldn't call him a scholar, but he does have a good hold on history, and he's a man of books.
Okay.
And so forth. So it's not like
it's a little like Sam, where Sam comes up with those kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, and so he ends it with ride now, ride now. Talks of Mary is behind, and by that time Mary is sitting behind Durnhelm again and getting ready to ride off again.
Okay.
And follow the king into battle. And then he blew his horn, and all the other horns blew together. And I like this. The horns were like a storm.
Yes, I did like that a lot.
So that's. It's a short topic.
It's a short chapter. I think that's about it.
It's a short chapter. You read it. You must have read it backwards or something. And
no, I misremembered previous chapters. Is what happened. I misremembered previous chapters.
It's called notes.
It's called I'm dumb. I'm just dumb.
It got recorded, folks. And also, I'm going to check to make sure she doesn't accidentally erase this part like she did last time. No, that was not an accident. That was an actual somehow.
That was a technical mishap. I really don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Because we paused earlier, but then it picked up and it kept going.
Yeah.
And so it's like from our pause it kept going, but then after but just right when we were finishing up is when it stopped. It was so weird.
Okay, so we're gonna end that foolishness. I hope you enjoy that. But what's the name of the next chapter?
The Battle of Pelennor Fields? Is that how that's pronounced?
Yeah, that's how I would pronounce it.
The Battle of Pelennor Fields. Okay.
Okay, so 3 predictions.
Am I allowed to bring my predictions from this chapter to the next chapter?
If you do, you have to give me a reason for that instead of just wimping out.
No, because I truly thought that this last chapter was going to be them fighting the orcs getting to Gondor, and so now I feel like we're at that part. So I still feel like they're gonna reach. I can't use the wall one again, but I'm gonna say Mary ends up in a trench, and I'm still gonna predict fireballs. I need a third one though. I'm gonna predict Faramir is going to ride out to meet them and try to lead an attack from both sides.
Faramir.
Oh yeah, Faramir is poison arrowed. Whoops. So that's wrong automatically.
So guess who doesn't remember chapter to chapter?
I have a lot going on, okay, guys? Okay, still need a third one. It's not helping.
Well, what about the folks that are in the tower?
Can I say they're not going to mention anyone in Gondor? It's just going to focus outside of Gondor?
I'll let you get away with that one.
Okay, cool. Alrighty.
So I have been Robert.
And I've been Evelyn.
And this might have been Token About It.